What would it take for the Lakers to add Zach LaVine? Matthew Stafford practices without limitations for the Rams. And as if LAFC weren't playing enough soccer matches, now their players are getting called up for international duty. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. Now it is November 16, 2023, and as you can tell by our list off on the scoreboard here, there is an absolute ton to get to. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Talking about LA sports is indeed the greater good. So before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Sacramento snaps the Lakers' 3-game winning streak, 125-110. Both LeBron James and D'Angelo Russell scored 28 points. I'm just not going to read a whole hell of a lot into that. The Lakers were playing on back-to-back nights. The second night of back-to-back nights, totally difficult to reach into the tank and go at top level. Meanwhile, Bona scores 20 points, grabs 11 rebounds, UCLA 78, Long Island 58. Tonight, Florida is at the Kings at 7:30. But let's get to the news. Minutes before I hit record on this little clippy clip, Yovad Bua of The Athletic reported that the Lakers' interest in Chicago's Zach LaVine, quote, is real at the right price, unquote. And yes, therein lies the rub, a deep rub, the type of rub where you hope the cops don't bust in with the handcuffs in case you spend for the little extra. The right price, folks, the right price. But if LaVine is available, does this mean that the Chicago Bulls are about to hold a fire sale? Ask yourself. Team sources then told Bua the Lakers would also be interested if the Bulls are holding a fire sale in bringing in DeMar DeRozan, in bringing in potentially and or former Laker Alex Caruso. Now LaVine is owed $138 million over the next 3 years. DeRozan is on an expiring contract. Caruso makes a little less than $10 million. So as you can tell, and I am not predicting a blockbuster because NBA trades are extraordinarily complicated with the salary cap. That's why you hear all these rumors all the time, and nothing ever comes of it. But according to The Athletic, which is a valuable, trusted news source, if they're reporting that both teams have interest, then okay, I'll listen to what they're talking about. LaVine is only, however, making 33% of his three-point attempts this year. And that is a problem because the Lakers do want better outside shooting. Also, LaVine doesn't play defense that well, and that goes against Darvin Ham's philosophy with what he wants from the team. Now, let's assume both of those problems get wiped aside, and man, they really want to go out and get themselves Zach LaVine. Well, the Lakers would have to wait for many of their players to become trade eligible. Now, we made a mistake yesterday, I admit it, when we talked about what is trade eligibility. I was originally told that trade eligible contracts happen on January 15th. That is not accurate. Some of the contracts become trade eligible on January 15th. For example, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. Other contracts actually become trade eligible on December 15th. December 15th. That would include D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood. And so the question becomes, is Chicago going to wait that long? How antsy are the Bulls to make a move? Now look, I get it. I just threw a ton of names at you. So let's pause. The Athletic then tried to break it down and say, who are the primary players that would be involved in a deal with Chicago? The most likely names involved in a trade would include Russell, Hachimura, or Vincent. Now, if it's more players from Chicago, i.e. Caruso, i.e. DeRozan, Now you're adding more players from LA. Okay? So there is interest. It has been confirmed. But again, there's a long way to go from interest to actually making the deal happen. Regarding last night's game, Anthony Davis had one of those trash performances that make people wish he was no longer a Laker. He only scored 9 points. Now, I'm not one of those guys. I'm very happy Anthony Davis is a Laker. Davis said that his injured hip flared a little last night, but he would not blame that on his 9-point output. I played like bleep, he said. He also added that he would be playing Friday when the Lakers are up in Portland. Matthew Stafford practiced without limitations Wednesday for the Rams. Quote, I feel pretty confident in my ability to go out there and play at a pretty high level, he said. Sean McVay said the playbook is not going to be limited to accommodate Stafford, who injured his thumb a couple of weeks ago. Meanwhile, Stafford spoke highly of incoming reserve Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz, of course, this is his first week having been with the Rams, said, quote, I've been in weird situations the last couple of years. I've had to learn a playbook every year. Never in season like this. Sometimes I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose, unquote. Well, that's delicious. Now, I do want to add one Rams note, because a lot of people reached out to me before the season. Because back then, if you remember, oh my God, Caleb Williams was going to be the unstoppable force of human nature. Wouldn't it be great if the Rams got him? And I get that. We were a lot more innocent then, you know. But ESPN ran a ton of computer scenarios. In other words, will the Rams win this, lose this, win this, lose this? And they ran it over and over and over, not just for the Rams, but for every other team in the NFL, to try to determine what their finishing record would wind up being. The Rams' chance of getting the number 1 pick in the NFL draft is about 1 in 10,000. So everybody loves them some Caleb Williams, except for the whole crying in public part. But it's highly doubtful that the Rams would get that pick in order to land Caleb Williams. I am a soccer hunk. I admit it. I don't just watch MLS. I'm a part owner of a USL team. Thank you very little. Love the Premier League. Mix in a little Bundesliga every so often. Damn sure love international soccer. The Americans are playing tonight during an international break. Now, these international friendlies will have a direct effect on LAFC's run to try to get a second consecutive MLS Cup. Because as many as 6 players for the black and gold were called up to international duty. And that includes MLS Golden Boot winner Dennis Bouanga and their goaltender Maxime Crépeau. Now, I grant you, LAFC plays Seattle on Sunday, November 26th. So there will be time for these players to travel internationally, come back, recover, train, etc. But remember, LAFC also reached the finals of CONCACAF Champions Cup or Champions League. For that matter, MLS created this stupid thing called Leagues Cup between Liga MX and MLS. It was a total, blatant, cynical cash grab because of that new contract that MLS got with Apple TV. If LAFC reaches the MLS Cup finals, that team would be playing more than 50 matches. 50 matches in this calendar year. And that also includes, plus you add to that, players called for international call-ups. Now, I'm sorry. I admit it. I'm a Galaxy fan. But I absolutely believe in fair play. That is drooling in a cup on the sidewalk level of insane. Absolutely nuts. Daniel Theis will not be traded to the Clippers. Instead, he accepted a buyout on his contract with Indiana. Now, that opens a path for him to join the Clippers as a free agent if he clears waivers. This is according to ESPN. The center is expected to clear waivers tomorrow. The Clippers are obviously hurting at backup center. If you recall, Mason Plumlee is out for a couple of months with a sprained knee. The impact is profound. The Clippers had no choice but to play small ball against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. You play small ball against the Joker? That's nuts. Now, should Thies sign with LA, the pact would obviously be for the veteran minimum. Now, you might have noticed we have the rundown of stories here. On the other side of the board, if you're new to the program, is the list of players the Dodgers are allegedly interested in. This is a list of mostly bullcrap rumors from scribes who have nothing better to do than to pull players' names out of their heinies and say, oh, I got to make a paycheck somehow. The Dodgers are interested in trying to buy this guy in free agency. 31. It's now 31 players. The Belcher report claims the Dodgers want to call Boston and ask about starting pitcher Chris Sale. They want to call? I mean, what kind of a rumor is that? Why haven't they called, right? Are they scared? Are they crushing on Boston's front office? Are they just standing by the phone like I had to do when it was the 1980s? Nobody had cell phones and I was a teenager hoping a girl would call? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, they're hoping to call about Chris. Look, that is a trash-tacular rumor. But what I will tell you is just to give you the basics. Chris Sale is a left-handed, injury-prone pitcher. Injury-prone, which obviously makes him an ideal Dodger in the rotation, wouldn't you say? But 31 names on that board now. 31. Could they possibly legitimately be interested in all 31, or are the scribes yanking our chain? And by the way, the scribes are starting to recycle the names. I go through every day looking up stories on the Dodgers. These names are getting recycled. Oh, we know there's interest now. No, we knew there was interest then. Now let's talk about a couple of players just to get a better perspective. Former MLB general manager Jim Bowden wondered aloud what it would take to land three-time All-Star starting pitcher Corbin Burnes of Milwaukee. Bowden said that if the Dodgers sent, say, Ryan Pepio and Emmett Sheehan east, that would trigger a blockbuster. In other words, those two prospects are so good for the Dodgers that it doesn't necessarily match Corbin Burnes coming back. In other words, then they would want more players from Milwaukee, and Milwaukee would want more players back from LA. In other words, the point is, if you really wanted Corbin Burnes as a Dodger front office staffer, there are multiple paths in order to land the guy. Meanwhile, CBSSports.com ranked the potential landing spots for free agent ace Aaron Nola. That list did not include the Dodgers. So again, for when you look to the players the Dodgers are allegedly interested in list, just keep that in mind. Back and forth. Rumor, rumor, rumor. It's all garbage. And by the way, when I say that, players, I really wish I had more of a voice like James Earl Jones. It would give it gravitas. 3 days after one of the worst coaching performances in his 3 years of leading the Chargers, Brandon Staley said he will keep calling defensive plays. Quote, "We believe in how we play, and we believe in the guys that we're playing with. You're going to make adjustments throughout the year, but nothing significant," unquote. Now, before the season, the Chargers had allowed more than 500 yards only once in Staley's tenure. This is his 3rd year. They've allowed 500 yards twice, and that would include the loss at home last weekend to Detroit. Meanwhile, the question is Staley's message getting lost? Cornerback Jasir Taylor told the LA Times, quote, "We sit in the film room week after week, fixing the same mistakes," unquote. That's optimistic. The LA Times, for that matter, nobody else, has confirmed a report from Bruin Report Online that Chip Kelly will be fired, perhaps as soon as after the USC game. Kelly changed the subject. He told the scribes that he joins Colorado coach Deion Sanders in asking for leniency for the Bruins recruits suspected of stealing jewelry from the Buffalo's locker room last month at the Rose Bowl. Quote, "You got to let the judicial system take its course. But you know, to ruin their lives? No." Unquote. What do you think of Pierre-Luc Dubois with the Kings so far? There's been updates, right? He scored 4 times in 14 games. That's not bad. Pretty damn solid, I would say. But he hasn't exactly been that dominant force either. Or am I wrong? Am I? You tell me if you're a Kings fan. Look, when I've been watching Kings games, I am a Kings fan, obviously. When he's on the ice, the Kings seem to be very much in control of the puck, and they are getting good scoring chances. But I just don't get the vibe that he's the next Anze Kopitar either. If you're a Kings fan, you let me know. Finally, CBSSports.com keeps up with rookies across the NBA and ranks them. It is obviously early in the season, but right now they claim that Miami's Jaime Jaquez Jr., late of UCLA basketball, is the 3rd best rookie in the class. Miami is on a 6-game winning streak. Jaquez has played a role. For example, in a victory over Charlotte, Jaquez played the entire 4th quarter and scored 9 of his 17 points then. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, do you even want Zach LaVine with the Lakers? Do you feel more optimistic about the Rams with Matthew Stafford back? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortez Queso production. Take care.